Good morning, dear students. How are you all? Well, let me anticipate the answer for this. I hope you all are doing good. Okay. So, in the previous class, what had we discussed? We actually did the revision of subject-verb agreement. We have solved some questions in the previous session, and then certain questions were given to you as homework. Okay, and your homeworks, your note for the previous chapter has already been uploaded in the school's website. In case some of you do not know about it, let me again repeat it. Okay, you will be typing, when the moment you type Little Flower School Rapti Nagar, okay, on Google, you will be directed to a page. Click on website. The moment you go to the website, under so many drop down options, you will have an option of downloads. Click on that downloads, and there you will have the different notes and homeworks of different subjects for different classes. There you can relate to, or you can just click on the homework and the notes which has been uploaded for you on last Wednesday. Okay, so please do refer to it. Please do the questions as it has been told in the previous session, as well as instructions have been given in the homework, okay, in the website. And please follow the classes religiously. Okay, so previous session we have done subject verb agreement. Before that we had discussed tense in quite detail. So it's high time now you know what is sequence of tenses. Okay, so today in our session we'll be discussing about sequence of tenses. I hope this is completely new for you. You haven't done this concept earlier. So I would suggest those of you who have books with you, please do sit with your books. Okay, I'll read out the rules and then I'll explain it over here. For those of you who do not have the books as of now, just do it in the same way as you have done for the previous sessions. Okay, sit with your rough copies, write down the rules along with the examples. That would be your reference for the future as long as you get the book. Okay, now if I ask you what do you mean by sequence of tense, okay, you can very easily say that the word sequence means what? Sequence means what has, suppose when you go for the assembly, right, when you go for the school's assembly, what happens? There is a kind of sequence in which you stand. Okay, the shorter one has to stand first, then the then it keeps on going in terms of ascending order. Okay, same is the case here, sequence of tenses. Okay, now if you remember in the previous session, okay, when we were discussing tense, we had a very minute discussion about simple, compound and complex sentences. Okay, now that is the concept that we are going to use over here. Okay, let us first forget this thing. Let us first forget about sequence of tenses, and please let us focus on sentence. A sentence which may consist of two clauses, okay, which may consist of two clauses. Let us assume that one is the primary clause or main clause, okay, and the next one is subordinate clause. Okay, primary clause and subordinate clause. Now the question arises, what is primary clause and what is subordinate clause? It is mandatory for you to understand this, because without this concept you will not be able to understand the rules of sequence of tenses. Now suppose, let us understand with the help of an example. Okay, Let us read out the example aloud. She told me that it had been raining for 2 hours. Okay. Now, if I ask you, can you mark the primary clause and the subordinate clause over here? If you can, it's well and good. If you cannot, do not worry, I'll explain it over here. See, primary clause means a clause which can stand on its own. Clauses, generally what is the characteristic of clauses? Clauses have they have a subject, they have a verb, they have a predicate, but sometimes their sense is not complete. Okay. Then according to if we divide clauses again into types, we have primary clause and we have main clause and subordinate clause. Okay. Now what is a primary clause or what is a main clause over here? If I take this portion, she told me. Just focus on this. She told me. What do you understand by this? It clearly gives us a meaning that she or somebody has told me something. Clear? Now, if we focus on this, if we focus on she told me, this particular this particular portion of the sentence, you can easily understand that this particular portion of the sentence does not depend on any other part of the sentence for the completion of its meaning, isn't it? Like, if I say she told me, the meaning over here is very clear. I do not need any context for the completion of its meaning. Okay? So that is why I call it main clause. Since it is main clause, it can stand on its own and it has no dependence on any other part of the sentence for the completion of its meaning. Now let us come to the next part. That it had been raining for 2 hours. Now this portion from that it had been raining for 2 hours is actually what? Now when I say that it had been, okay, it clearly shows that because of this conjunction, now this chunk of the sentence needs a context on which it can depend for the completion of its meaning. And what is that context? That context is she told me, isn't it? So that is why it is subordinate clause. Okay, subordinate clause, it is dependent on the main clause for the completion of its meaning. Okay. Now there are certain conjunctions that define a subordinate clause. Okay, or there are certain conjunctions which are actually initiating the subordinate clause. There are certain conjunctions which are initiating the subordinate clause. I won't go into much detail of those conjunctions because we are already going to do it in detail in the upcoming chapters. But still, like that, who, all the WH words, who, what, which, okay, whom, etc. and etc. Okay, these are the conjunctions. There are certain conjunctions that are subordinate conjunctions. Why subordinate conjunction? Because they initiate a subordinate clause. Now what is a subordinate clause? A subordinate clause is something or is a clause that depends upon the main clause for the completion of its meaning. This is what you need to understand as of now. Okay. If still there are any confusion, please do remember only two things, that a sentence can have a primary. If it is not a simple sentence, if it is a compound or a complex sentence, it can have a principal clause and a subordinate clause. What is a principal clause or what is a primary clause? Primary, principal, or primary means something which is main, something which can stand on its own. Okay, so a main clause or the principal clause can have its complete meaning, whereas a subordinate clause begins with a subordinating conjunction, and because of that it depends upon the context of the primary clause for the completion of its meaning. Just keep this much of detail into your mind. Rest we will definitely discuss it in detail in the next chapters. Okay, so now let us proceed to the chapter. Okay, I'll first erase it and then we'll proceed to the chapter. Yes, students, I'll even like to tell you that if at all you have any confusion in case of principal clause and main clause and subordinate clause and all these things, okay, please take your 8th standard book. I hope it is given there in much detail, okay. And there is a chapter, simple, compound, complex sentences in that book. Please do refer to it, okay. When you refer to that chapter, you will again, means it will give you a chance to revise what is principal clause, what is subordinate clause, what is simple sentence, what is compound sentence, what is complex sentence. You can even try to learn the coordinating and the subordinating conjunction, okay, because that is actually going to be very useful for you. Anyways, so let us proceed with the chapter, the sequence of tenses. This heading, what do you mean by this term sequence of tenses? Okay, I told you, no, sequence means it decides the order for something. The sequence of tenses is a principle according to which the tense of the verb in a subordinate clause follows the tense of the verb in the principal clause. Okay, this is important actually, you have to understand. I told you, right, sequence means what? Order. Now, order of what? Order of tenses. Order of tenses in what? In a sentence. Okay? Order of tenses in a sentence. In a sentence. Now, just now I told you that a sentence will have a principal clause or main clause. Okay? Principal clause or main clause and a subordinate clause. Isn't it? Just now I told you that. Now, order of tenses means what? Order of tenses to be followed in a sentence having a principal clause and a subordinate clause. Or, to simplify it, we can say that this particularly decides that in what tense a subordinate clause will be, depending upon the tense of the principal clause. Like, if the principal clause is in past, the subordinate clause will also be in past. Okay, and all these things. Okay, so this is what is all about sequence of tenses. Now let us discuss about the first rule. See, let me make it clear. There are only 2 rules in this chapter. Okay, both the rules have got certain exceptions, and you have to learn it. You don't only have to learn. You not only have to learn the rules, but you even need to remember the exceptions, and then only you can frame proper sentences. Rules are there, but those rules are not applicable everywhere. There are n number of exceptions. We will discuss certain exceptions over here, and you have to remember it. Okay, so let us proceed with the first rule. Rule 1. Now the rule 1 says the past tense in the principal clause must be followed by a tense of the past time in the subordinate clause. What does it say? It says that, like I told you, no, we have principal clause and we have what? Subordinate clause. Isn't it? Now it says that if the principal clause is in past tense, the subordinate clause will also be in past tense. Any confusion? It's very easy. The rule is very easy. The first rule simply says that if the principal clause is in past tense, the subordinate clause will also be in past tense. Let us see some example for that. Let us understand this. The example over here is she knew that he would go to Kolkata. Let us find out the principal clause and the subordinate clause first of all. Now I told you, no, what is the principal clause? The clause that can stand on its own. Here, if you focus on this, she knew, it is actually complete in itself. It doesn't need any context for completion of its meaning. So that means it is a principal clause. Okay? And as we have already seen, that is subordinating conjunction. So with subordinating conjunction begins the subordinate clause. The clauses are very clear now. This is the principal clause. This is the subordinate clause. I hope this is clear. Okay. Now let us focus on the rule. The rule again. Let us go back to the rule again. The rule says principal clause is in past tense. Let us see the tense of the principal clause. New. New means it is in which tense? Past tense. I hope there is no confusion. Let us proceed to the next one. Subordinate clause. Now what is that subordinate clause? The rule says that if the principal clause is already in past tense, the subordinate clause will also be in past tense. Let us see the tense of the subordinate clause. That he would go to Kolkata. If you focus on this word would, this is actually past form of what? Will. So this is also in past tense. Clear? Okay. Let us focus on one more example. Okay. Okay. The next example is, he was telling us that he knew the secret of a friend. Okay. He was telling us that he knew the secret of a friend. Let us again mark the principal clause and the subordinate clause over here. If I say he was telling us, does it need any other context for the completion of its meaning? I hope you have understood. No. So that means this is what? This is the principal clause. Okay. And with that, which is the subordinating conjunction, begins what? The subordinate clause. Okay. So now this is the principal clause. This is the subordinate clause. If I focus on the tense of principal clause, what it is? Was telling. That means it is what? Past continuous. Past continuous. Okay. Let us come to subordinate clause. That he knew. This is what? This is simple past. So is it clear now? Can you now understand that the rule is satisfying over here? What is the first rule? The first rule is, if the principal clause is in past tense, the subordinate clause will be in past tense. The same is what being followed in the second example. The principal clause is in past continuous. The subordinating clause is in simple past. Both are in past tense. The rule satisfies over here. But this is not the end. As I told you, the rule has got many exceptions. Let us move on to the exception now. So it's time to discuss the exceptions to the first rule. Before I proceed with the exceptions, I'll request you all to go back to the uses of simple present tense. Okay? What did you do in simple present tense? In the usage of simple present tense, I told you one thing, that whenever we are discussing the universal truth, fact, okay, universal truth or fact, whenever we are talking about some universal truth or fact, in that case they are only and only represented in present tense, simple present tense. Okay, I hope you remember this. If you don't remember this, please go back to those rules. Okay, that is the reason I told you in the previous session that in the next session, when I begin with sequence of tenses, I want you people to have good hold on tense, because it is more or less related to tense. So in exception, the first exception is, if at all, the subordinate clause, the rule, what was the rule? The rule was, I'll write the rule over here in short. principal subordinate clause. The rule said that if the principal clause is passed, the subordinate clause will also have to be passed. There is no other option. Okay. Now the first exception is, suppose, okay fine, suppose if I say, she told me. This is the principal clause, this is in past. But what if the subordinate clause talks about a universal truth? What if I say she told me that the sun rises in the east? Sun rises in the east. Now since this subordinate clause over here, that sun rises in the east, is a universal truth, it's a universal fact, I cannot say it in past tense. Neither can I say that sun was rising in the east. I cannot say it in simple past or past continuous. If it is a universal truth, if it is a fact, it has to remain in present tense, no matter what. Okay? So, the first exception is, I'll read out the exception aloud. A past tense in the principal clause. Is a past tense in the principal clause? Okay? May be followed by a present tense in the subordinate clause. This is a subordinate clause and it is in present tense. Okay? A past tense in the principal clause will be followed by a present tense in the subordinate clause if the subordinate clause is a universal truth. Clear? If the subordinate clause is a universal truth or habitual action. Okay? Let me read out the rule aloud, the exception aloud. A past tense in the principal clause will be followed by a present tense in the subordinate clause if the subordinate clause is a universal truth or habitual action. Like over here, this subordinate clause was a universal truth. That is the reason, despite the fact that our principal clause was in past tense, the subordinate clause is in present tense. It's an exception to the first rule. Okay? I hope this is clear. This is very easy. Let us move on to the next one. When the subordinate clause is introduced by some conjunction of comparison. Now, what do you mean by conjunction of comparison? You know what is comparison? Comparison means when we actually compare one thing with the other. Okay? When we actually try to establish a comparison between two. Okay? Or between like one and more. If you actually go back to, if I take you back to your 8th standard, you have done a chapter, degrees of comparison. Okay? And in degrees of comparison, when we came to, this is the second exception, okay? In degrees of comparison, if you talk about it, if you think about comparative degree, okay? In comparative degree, we used to have than. It was must in case of comparative degree, isn't it? This is a conjunction of comparison. Let me write one example. He respected you better than he respects me. Now, as per the rule, the principal clause is in past tense, subordinate clause will also be in past tense. Let us find out the principal clause and the subordinate clause over here. What is the principal clause? He respected you. Principal clause, this is in which tense? This is in past tense. Okay. What is a subordinate clause? Respected you better. Sorry, up till here we have the principal clause and which is in past tense. What is the subordinate clause over here? Then he respects me. Okay, this is subordinate clause. What is the tense of the subordinate clause? It is in present tense. That means it doesn't satisfy the rule. Why it doesn't satisfy the rule? Because it is an exception. It comes under the exceptional category. Let us see what is the exception. The exception is when the subordinate clause is introduced by some conjunction of comparison. This is subordinate clause. It is introduced by what? Conjunction of comparison. When the subordinate clause is introduced by conjunction of comparison. Conjunction of comparison. I told you what is conjunction of comparison. Any conjunction which is actually used or the function of which is to establish comparison between two or more. Okay. So, when the subordinate clause is introduced by conjunction of comparison, rule 1 doesn't apply at all. Any tense can be followed by any tense. Now, what is the case over here? Any tense can be followed by any tense. Understood? I hope I am clear. Here also what we have, past tense, present tense is followed by past tense. Okay? First the principal clause is in past tense, the subordinate clause is in present tense. That was the second exception. What was the first exception? The first exception said that if the principal clause is in past tense, okay, subordinate clause will be in past tense. This is a rule. What was the first exception? The first exception said that the subordinate clause, if at all it is talking about a universal truth, habitual action or fact, okay, then in that case the subordinate clause will be in present tense even if the principal clause is in past tense. The second rule said that if the subordinate clause is introduced by if it is introduced by conjunction of comparison like then, okay, then in that case what happens? Any tense can be followed by any tense and the rule number 1 will not apply at all. Let us go to the next exception for this. Okay, there are certain other conjunctions over here. I'll just write it, okay? Or let me give an example to you so you will understand it better. What is the example over here? They understand me as well as they understood you. Let us mark the principal clause and the subordinate clause. The principal clause is they understand me. Okay, this is the principal clause. Okay, which tense it is in? It is in present tense. For a change, principal clause in this example is in present tense. Okay, what is the subordinate clause? As well as they understood you. Okay, what is the tense over here? Understood. That means it is in past tense. Why did I reverse the order over here? So that you understand that just now I have told you that when the subordinate clause, this is a subordinate clause, it has been introduced by a conjunction of comparison. The previous was then, again as well as also is a conjunction of comparison. Okay, when the subordinate clause is being introduced by a conjunction of comparison, any tense can be followed by any tense. It's not just that past tense first we have to use past tense and then only we'll use present tense. No, any tense, like here it is a present tense followed by past tense. Clear? Understood? So this was the second exception. Let us move on to the next exception. The next exception is when the subordinate clause is an adverb clause denoting place, reason or comparison. It may be in any tense as required by the sense, even if there is past tense in the principal clause. Now let me just write the rule over here. The exception. The exception says that if the subordinate clause is an adverbial clause, okay. Now let me ask you what is an adverbial clause. Before that, let me ask you what is an adverb. An adverb is something that adds to the meaning of verb, right? An adverb will tell us about the time of action, place of action, manner of action. It will tell us about all these things, okay. Similarly, an adverbial clause is a clause that tells us about in detail. It has got an adverb and it will tell us in detail about the time, place of action, okay. So if the subordinate clause is an adverbial clause, and basically what? Adverbial clause of what? Adverbial clause of place. That subordinate clause will tell us about the place of action, okay, or it will tell us about the reason behind the action. Adverbial clause of reason, or if it is an adverbial clause of comparison, as we have already seen the case of comparison, earlier. Then in that case, subordinate clause can be in any tense. Can be in any tense, even if the principal clause is in past tense. Let me repeat the rule for you. The rule says that if the subordinate clause is an adverbial clause and it tells about the place, reason of place of action, reason of action and comparison, it establishes a comparison, then in that case the subordinate clause can be in any tense depending upon the sense of the sentence. Even if the principal clause is in past tense, it's not mandatory for the subordinate clause to be in past tense. We'll understand it better with the help of an example. Okay. A grand city once stood where now lies the village. If I ask you, what is the principal clause over here? I hope by now you have understood. The principal clause is a grand city once stood. Okay. And if I talk about this portion where now lies the village, this is a subordinate clause. If you focus again on it properly, the subordinate clause where now lies the village, it tells about the place of action. Place of action, okay? It tells about the place. It gives us an idea about the place. So this is no doubt adverbial clause, and this adverbial clause tells us about the place. It is an adverb of place, okay? So if this subordinate clause is an adverbial clause, this is an adverbial clause, okay, and this adverbial clause it talks about place in detail, then in that case the principal clause is past but the subordinate clause is in present. City was the past thing. City was earlier there, but now we don't have the city anymore. Okay, what we have at present is the village. So depending upon the sense of the sentence, we are supposed to use present tense over here and not past tense. Okay, I hope this is clear. Okay, let me just repeat the rule once. What was the rule? First rule. The first rule was, if the principal clause is in past tense, the subordinate clause also will be in past tense. Okay. The examples I have given you. Now again there are three exceptions to this rule. What was the first exception? The first exception was very simple. It said that if the subordinate clause is a universal truth, fact or habitual action, in that case the subordinate clause will be in present tense even if the principal clause is in past tense. Okay. The second exception was, if at all the subordinate clause begins with conjunction of comparison like than or as well as, okay, then in that case rule 1 will not be applicable. Any tense can be followed by any tense. Like we can have principal clauses in present tense and subordinate clauses in past tense or vice versa. Okay. The third exception is if the subordinate clause is an adverbial clause and it basically talks about place, reason or comparison. In that case, even if the principal clause is in past tense, the subordinate clause can be in any tense, okay, depending upon the sense of the sentence. So I hope the rule, the first rule and the three exceptions to it are clear. Your homework is, you will, if you haven't prepared the notes, revisit the lecture, prepare the notes, prepare it properly, okay, get your concepts clear, try to frame examples related to these rules, exceptions and the rule, and get back to Wednesday's class. There we'll discuss the next rule and the exception. Thank you, dear students.